Greetings, my fellow Americans. My name is Samuel Ronan, and it is with great sorrow and sadness that I must invoke the 9th Amendment from our Bill of Rights in the Constitution of the United States of America, which stipulates that all powers not granted and enumerated in this Constitution to the federal government and to the states belongs to the people, respectively. And what does that mean? Why would I come forth from the White House and issue this declaration? We are facing a constitutional crisis, my countrymen. This administration is very clearly a rogue administration, acting for its own self-interest to consolidate power within the executive, to undermine our Constitution, our rights, our freedoms, our heritage, in their image, in their name. We could argue that this began on the very first day of the inauguration. We could argue that it began in 2016 when he first got elected. We can argue everything under the sun that we want to argue. But the reality is that today, now, in the year 2025, our Constitution has been all but eviscerated. And that the remaining vestiges, the remaining balances of power that remain are those few rights, those few amendments that we must, as citizens, choose to invoke. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that we must abide by the second and engage in violence and overthrowing our government. No, that would be inciting insurrection. Exactly what this administration did on January 6th. No, instead, I am invoking the 9th, which is, again, that all the powers that are not explicitly enumerated in the Constitution to the federal government and the states respectively belongs to the people. So what does that mean? It means we do not have to abide by this administration at all, and that we, the people, can declare that this administration is an unlawful assembly, that their very existence violates the Constitution, and that we, the people, shall not abide nor adhere to their laws, their existence, and that we force, demand, condemn all these words that this administration is no longer our governing institution, our governing body, is no longer the de facto ruling administration of these United States of America. And in so doing, we can declare a different body, this administration, my administration, the Ronan administration, whereupon we will set the record straight on what is and is not unconstitutional, what is and is not unlawful orders, what is and is not the greater good and in the best interests of this nation, our allies, and the American people. Because I can assure you, Alligator Auschwitz, an 8-day assembly concentration camp in the swamps of Florida, which is in the middle of hurricane country and can't even survive a rainstorm, is a death camp. The fact that ICE agents have been funded to exceed that of the United States Air Force, the same branch that I served in for over 12 years. An agency that is not mandated to provide their face, or a warrant, or due process, or respect anything resembling the law, while they engage in kidnapping and trafficking of citizens who were born in this country with natural citizenship and are having their rights taken from them without any recourse and sent to foreign concentration camps like the death camp in El Salvador. And then ordering the Marine Corps to engage in a absolute dystopian fascistic crackdown of protesters in Los Angeles while threatening a duly elected governor for the same. Slashing government agencies that actually help society recover from natural disasters like flooding in Texas, like hurricanes in North Carolina. Or slashing the National Weather Service and preventing any amount of ability to actually predict and prepare and prevent these tragedies from occurring in the first place. I assure you unequivocally that any order issued by this administration directing the military to subjugate citizens is both unlawful and unethical. It's a violation of the Geneva Conventions and our own federal laws, to include the Uniform Code of Military Justice, of course, Marine Corps or Army provisions as well. The fact remains that this lawlessness, this brazen abuse of power in violation of the Constitution as well as the executive mandate, is indicative of a criminal administration. And the fact that our cowardly Congress, both House and the Senate, and our failure of a judiciary, the Supreme Court of the United States, have both failed to implement their checks and balances against this administration, of which they have quite a few powers to do so, not least of which is impeachment, not least of which is issuing arrest orders to enforce injunctions made by the Supreme Court, even when it was a unanimous decision. The U.S. Marshals exist for a reason. Federal agencies exist for a reason. And they are not beholden to the executive, the legislative, or the judiciary. They are beholden to the United States of America, the taxpayer, we the people, the Constitution. And their failure to act, to actually enforce the checks and balances as enumerated in the Constitution, is complicity. Once again, requiring the need to invoke the 9th for the American people. And so it is with a heavy heart I must do so. And this administration, the Ronan administration, shall ensure that accountability for this administration, their allies, every member that they have aided and abetted from local all the way up to the federal level, all of the billionaires, all of the corporatocracies, all of the judges, all of the legislators, the governors, the mayors, the police officers, the judges, everyone involved in this atrocity shall be prosecuted for treason, for insurrection, for threatening the Constitution and the American people, for any number of things, truth be told, that fits the description of what we are seeing today, which is a blatant disregard for the rule of law and an absolute accelerated march towards Nazi-style fascism. We, the people of these United States, cannot and should not abide these atrocities. We fought an entire world war to prevent the Nazis from ever progressing forth. And here we are, aiding and abetting and facilitating and watching it being manufactured before our very eyes. Enough is enough. It is time that we, the people, invoke the 9th, raise an administration to the forefront, granting it the power to execute the authorities vested in the Constitution of the United States and hold these criminals accountable. My name is Samuel Ronan, and as your president, I will not allow this lawlessness to continue unabated.